In this video, we'll be talking about percentage. So the word percentage, which is usually symbolized as this, is from the word per and cent. So when you say per, it's just like like a division sign, like meter per second, something like that, per. And when you say cent, it is from the Greek word centum, and that centum means 100. So when you say 50%, it means 50 per is what? Like this division sign, 100. Make sense? So 50% is like 50 over 100. But most times we don't just use the word, we use the word as maybe 50% of something. So if you say you have a number, let's say 8, you now say 50% of 8. That would be, that would be 50 over 100 times 8. So because 50 over 100 is a straightforward fraction, 50 here 1, 50 here 2, 1 over 2, which is same as half. That is like saying half of 8. So, and we have many more examples like that. So I've highlighted some example, and each of the example I have here, I have 6 of them. Each of the example, there is something I want you to learn from it, and I'm going to point it out as we are dealing with that example. So first of all, what are the common percentages that you should actually just know offhand? You should know how to solve them without use of calculator, or maybe you are having an exam or something. You should be able to like get the answers very quickly. For example, when you say 50% of something, as we have discussed earlier, 50%, 50 over 100 is same as half, which is 1 over 2 or 0.5. So when you want to look for the 50% of something, you are looking for half of that thing. And half of 150 would be what? Would be 75. But if you are not so sure and you want to do the calculation yourself, you can say 50 over 100, that's 50%, of, make it that times 150. So 0 cancel 0, that's like dividing by 10. 0 cancel 0. 5 times 15 is still what? 75. So when you have 25%, 25% is 25 over 100. That 25 over 100 is same as 1 over 4. Because when you divide 25 by 25, you have 1. If you divide 100 by 25, you have 4. Because 25 times 1 is 25, times 2 is 50, times 3 is 75, times 4 is 100. So you have 1 over 4. So when you're looking for 1 over 4 of 150, so if you divide it by 2, if you divide 150 by 2, you have 75. And if you divide 75 by 2, you have, so if you say 70 divided by 2, that's 35. And 5 divided by 2, that's 2.5. Or 2.5. So that will be 37.5. Then 200%. A lot of people used to have this misconception that when you're talking about percentage, that X percent, whatever thing percent, it has to be less than 100, because those are very common examples. But I want to just let you know that it is possible for you to have percentage higher than 100. And in the case that you have something like 200, which is just 100 times 2. So when you say 200%, that's 200 over 100, you have 2. So it means that this 77, you are looking for double of 77. 200% of 77 is same as 2 times 77. So when you say 2 times 77, 2 times 70, that's 140. Then 2 times 7, that's 14. So you have 154. Then if you have 10% of something, This 10% is straightforward and confusing at the same time, because when you have 10%, people just say 10% is 110, which is 1 over 10. But if you just sell this idea without explaining why it is 110, people can end up having misconception that maybe 20% can be 120. So I like it when I take my time to explain why it is 110. It is very simple, but if you don't get it right, it is also very confusing on the long run. So the reason why it is 110 is just because 10% is 10 over 100. So when you say 10 here, you have 1, 10 here, you have 10. That is why it is 110. So if you have 5%, that will be what? 5 over 100, which will be equals to 5 here 1, 5 here 20, 1 over 20. And if you have 20%, that will be 20 over 100, which is equal to 1 over 5. Yeah. So when you have 10%, you can just go ahead and divide the number. If you say 10% of 150, you can go ahead and divide 150 by 10. And God so good, 150 is ending with 0. And it's not like it's a decimal point 0 or something. So you can just cancel that 0. You can just, so 150 divided by 10 is 15. And that same 15 is 10% of 150. I hope that makes sense. So when you have 12% of something, then these are the kind of example that you just want to do it the normal way. Like 12% is 12 over 100 times 160. So 0 here will cancel 0 here. Then when you have 12 times 16, so you can say 12 times 10, that's 120. Then 12 times 6, so let's say 12 times 5, that's 60. Then 12 itself. Then when you add all of this together, you have 12 times 16, so which is 2 here, 9 here, 1 here, so 192. So you have 192 over 10. So 192 over 10 equals 19.2. So that will be the final answer. A lot of people used to misinterpret half percent as half, but it is actually half over 100. So if you say half over 100 is also equal to 1 over 200. And how do we get there? When you say 1 over 2 divided by 100, which is same as saying times 1 over 100, when you say divided by 100 is same as times 1 over 100. So when you multiply these two together, you have 1 over 200. So you now say half percent of 150. So you now have, we can do it either way. We can say half over 100 times 150. We can say 1 over 200 times 150. But let's do half over 100 times 150. So half over 100 times 150. The first thing you want to do here is, if you say half times 150, that's 75, then over 100. Divide both sides, divide both numerator and denominator by 25. You have 3 here, you have 4 here. So if you want to leave your answer in fraction, that is 3 over 4. But if you want to leave it in decimal, the one with a point, so you have 0.75. And if you have 75 divided by 100, so 75. So when you are dividing by 100, you move the point from here, 1, 2, because you have 2 zeros here, and that makes it 0.75. So if you want to study more questions, I will be making some questions. I'll put the link up here, and just study them. How I want you to study them is that you should go to the question. When you see the question, before I solve it, you try and solve it. When you solve it, you keep your answer to yourself. Then you watch the solution. So you see whether you got it right or you got it wrong, and you correct yourself if need be. So see you on the next one.